Ladies, if you've ever walked into your own home and caught a whiff of something off, something musty, stale, or just plain old, it might not be your imagination. And worse, it might be you. Today, I'm revealing 3 odd cleaning habits that many senior women swear by, but are actually making your home smell older than it is. Don't miss number 3. It's something I used to do every week without fail. And I had no idea it was the culprit. Before we dive in, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments, what scent reminds you of home? I'd love to hear your answers. 1. Overusing air fresheners and scented sprays. Let's talk about something I used to swear by: air fresheners. I had one in almost every room. Lavender spray for the bedroom. Ocean breeze in the bathroom. Apple cinnamon for the kitchen. I even had one of those automatic plug-in things in the hallway that puffed out a cloud of scent every 30 minutes. To me, that was the smell of clean. After I'd done all my vacuuming, dusting, and mopping, I'd finish it off with a generous spritz and a candle or two. But one day, my niece came to visit. She stepped through the door, paused, and said, "Nana, your house smells like a thrift shop with perfume on it." She wasn't trying to be rude. She was just being honest. And honestly, she was right. The problem with constantly using air fresheners is that they don't actually clean anything. All they do is cover up odors, temporarily. Over time, what happens is those sprays mix with other smells in the house. Stale air, dust, mildew, leftover pet smells. They don't cancel each other out. They combine. And when you've got layers of that building up, it creates this heavy, almost sour scent that lingers in the air like an old coat nobody's worn in decades. The worst part, I couldn't even smell it anymore. That's the tricky thing with aging. We slowly lose sensitivity in our sense of smell. So while I thought my house smelled like fresh linen and lavender, what everyone else noticed was a strange, musty scent underneath a bunch of artificial sweetness. I started doing a little digging and learned that those plug-ins and sprays often contain volatile organic compounds. VOCs, they're called. Sounds fancy, but they're just chemical particles that float in the air and settle on your curtains, your couch, your clothes. And if you've got fabric-covered furniture or heavy drapes like I do, it just builds and builds. Once I realized this, I made a complete switch. I tossed out the sprays and plug-ins. Instead, I started using natural deodorizers, things like bowls of baking soda, vinegar-based surface cleaners, and essential oils in a diffuser. I also made it a habit to open the windows for 10 minutes a day, even in the winter, just to get the air moving. Within a week, I could feel a difference. The air felt lighter. My living room didn't have that odd, thick smell anymore. And for the first time in a long time, the house just smelled clean, not perfumed, not disguised, just fresh. It turns out masking a smell doesn't eliminate it. It just traps it in deeper. And if we want our homes to smell youthful and clean, we have to stop relying on sprays and start actually neutralizing the source. 2, cleaning linens but forgetting the surroundings. For most of my life, I was religious about keeping my linens clean. Sheets washed every Sunday. Towels twice a week. Pillowcases mid-week refresh. And believe me, I always felt like that meant my home was spotless. But one afternoon, my granddaughter climbed into my bed for a nap. She snuggled up to one of my fancy throw pillows and made a face. "Grandma, this smells weird," she said, handing it to me. I took a sniff, and sure enough, it had this old, stale odor to it. Not dirty exactly, but aged, like something that had been packed away in a forgotten box in the attic. That's when it hit me. I had been so focused on washing the visible things, sheets, pillowcases, towels, that I had completely ignored the surroundings. The throw pillows, the comforter, the mattress base, even the headboard, which was upholstered in fabric I hadn't thought to clean in years. And let's not forget the linen closet itself. I opened the door, and the smell that greeted me was like a sealed vault of old detergent, stale air, and fabric softener that had long since expired. Fabrics absorb everything: body oils, dust, humidity, and even the scent of food from the kitchen. Over time, these materials develop a mustiness that no amount of scented detergent can fix. Even if you wash the sheets every week, if they're sitting in a closet filled with that stale smell, they'll absorb it before you even put them on the bed. I learned that it wasn't just about laundering. It was about deep cleaning the entire sleeping and living environment. I started vacuuming the mattress and sprinkling it with baking soda every couple of months. I sprayed down the headboard with a mixture of water and a bit of white vinegar. I tossed the decorative pillows into the dryer on high heat to fluff them and kill any hidden mildew or mites. And I left the linen closet door open for a few hours each week just to let it air out. The difference was night and day. Now, when I crawl into bed, it smells like clean cotton, not old lady linen. And I've even started rotating where I store my linens so they're not just sitting in the same musty shelf forever. The key lesson here: clean sheets are wonderful, but if the bed they're going on or the air they're surrounded by isn't fresh too, then you're just dressing up the smell, not getting rid of it. And that stale scent creeps into everything: your clothes, your skin, even your hair. When we take the time to clean around the clean, that's when a house really starts to feel and smell like home again. 3. Using the same mop or cleaning cloths without replacing them often enough. This one is something that took me far too long to figure out, and I bet many of you are guilty of it too. I've been cleaning my home for decades, and I thought I was doing a good job. I washed the floors regularly, wiped down surfaces daily, and even disinfected the bathroom every week. But here's the kicker. For the longest time, I kept using the same mop head and cleaning cloths over and over, without thinking twice about how often I should replace them. At first, the mop looked fine. It was just a little worn, maybe a bit faded, but it still did the job, right? I'd rinse it out after every use, hang it to dry, and assume it was clean enough. Same with the cleaning cloths. I'd toss them in the laundry now, and then, but sometimes I left them damp or only partially cleaned before using them again. The problem is, those cleaning tools don't just pick up dust and dirt. Over time, they become breeding grounds for bacteria, mold spores, and mildew. When you use the same mop head week after week without replacing it, you're basically spreading those germs and that musty smell across every surface you clean. So instead of making your floors fresh and clean, you're actually dragging around a damp, stale smell that settles into carpets, grout lines, and even your socks. I remember one afternoon I was mopping the kitchen floor, and I caught a faint but unmistakable damp, sour smell right where I had just cleaned. At first, I blamed the floor itself, or maybe some forgotten spill, but then it hit me: the mop. That same mop I'd been using for months, without swapping out. I started doing some research and was shocked to learn that mop heads should ideally be replaced every 3 months, especially if you're cleaning multiple rooms. Cleaning cloths and rags should be washed in hot water with a good disinfectant or vinegar regularly, and if they start to smell funky or look worn, it's time to toss them out. Since I made these changes, the difference has been incredible. My floors don't have that lingering dampness or musty odor anymore. Even guests have commented that my house smells fresher, cleaner, and more inviting. It's a subtle change, but it's one that really transformed the overall atmosphere of my home. If you're still holding on to that same mop head from last year, or those dishcloths that have seen better days, it's time to let go. Think of it like your own clothes. Would you keep wearing socks that never get replaced? Of course not. Fresh, clean tools mean fresh, clean surfaces, and a home that smells nothing like old. So mark your calendar, set a reminder, whatever it takes, but commit to changing out your cleaning gear regularly. Your nose and your guests will thank you.